Now we got some hardcore evidence that these Zondervan Bible Dictionary they put in their Bible dictionary. It was a so-called white family, and they was doing all the research. And the rumor is that the dude committed suicide once he finished the book. But their family, uh, they didn't want to print up all the Bibles, all of the revived Bibles, even the King James. They do all the printing of the Bibles and dealing with the Bibles. Zondervan family, and so under this Nephilim, and uh, that was in Genesis 6. Now the Nephilim is not in the King James, uh, because it says a term rendered giants in the King James. So it was in the King James is giants, but in the revised version they put in the Nephilims. These Westcote and Hort, um, and some other revised versions of the Bible. And so when they did that, it got people all on these talking about aliens and people that's uh 20 feet tall and all this kind of stuff. And so, but these individuals knew that the heart of the matter, because when you go into the Hebrew, the word means giant or the fallen. And they tried to use this verse in Genesis 4, 6 and 4 to say that the angels fell from the sky due to rebelling against God. But that was a bold-faced lie, and they knew it because the Zondervan Bible Dictionary exposes how they knew this, but they was keeping it under wraps because you got a whole 40 something 40,000 denominations of Christianity and Jehovah wickedness, and they all believe in this fallen angel concept. But we see here clearly that that is a lie, and it was told by the so-called white man who is from the nation of Edom. See, they created these lies because what they was doing was hiding their identity, because the when you get to Revelation, it talks about uh, Satan the devil, and so they use this story to combine with that because it talks about angels, um, and so I'm gonna visit some of these verses, but these people will tell you anything, and you got to really pay attention to what they're doing. But it's the Lord, the Spirit of the Lord is bringing all of these things out in these last days, because he said in Daniel 12 and 9 that he was going to open up the books in the end of the time of the end. Pretty much before he make his appearance, he's going to open up the books and everybody's going to know the truth. Um, let me get that. I got three of those verses. Um, but let me go into these fallen angels verses and clear that up real quick. Okay, so let's go. Man, let's get Genesis chapter 6 and 4. We're going to break that down real quick. Verse 2, um, it says, the sons the sons of God saw the daughters of men that were fair. Okay, let's clear this up. The sons of God is not talking about angels, it's literal sons of God. You see, Yahweh, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, talked about sons of God. Let's get that real quick. And it shows you that it's not talking about sons of God in this situation. Uh, Verse 12, it says, but as many as receive him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believed on his name. So the sons of God was those individuals that had his law in his spirit. They was the so-called giants. You see, they was the so-called men that was like the nation of Israel, the high priest, the 12 tribes. You see that he was only dealing with them, and all the other nations had to follow their lead. You see, and so this really it was a just like the nation of Israel was separate from the other nations. He had the sons of God separate from the other nations, and they was dealing with God on another level like the nation of Israel. But the daughters of men, uh and these other men that wasn't the sons of God, these is who the sons of God went to having relations and taking them as wives, because it was forbidden, just like the Israelites. It wasn't uh it wasn't a thing that, or it wasn't suggested to them to go take the daughters from other nations. They were supposed to keep uh the seed pure and stay separate, you see. But let's get verse 4, then we're going to jump back up to verse 3. It say, and when the giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men and bare children to them, and the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So the children of these so-called giants became mighty men. You see, these were not angels. They was having men. They was having children with these women. They just was from a special uh bloodline. You see, just like the nation of Israel, it was a special, holy, separate bloodline. But jump back up to verse 3. It tells you what the Most High was mad at and who he was mad at. Because if they was violating and they was angels, he would address it. Verse 3, it said, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. So he was mad at man. His spirit was mad at man. His spirit wasn't mad at no angels, because it wasn't about no angels. This was about man, and the men that he was not going to strive with was this chosen bloodline. See, they was going to fall, and he chose Noah, or he chose pretty much people up to Noah. And Noah ended up being the one that was saved through that destruction that eventually came. And so this is what the situation was about. Now let's go to Revelation. Revelations chapter 12. Okay. Let's see, is it verse 9? Starting at verse 9, he said, and the great dragon was wroth. No, the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So they use this verse to try to say these uh, so-called angels was angels from heaven, when we already know who tampered with this verse to go up their theology when they was revising the Bible. But here in the King James, it's still saying angels, because angels don't always mean a spirit, the spirits in heaven that God uses. An angel is a messenger. See, people understood that in the ancient world, or during the time that these Bibles was written in the 1600s, it didn't mean uh, what they said saying it mean till they made it meant that way. They put it into their theology and start preaching it and put it into their dogma, and then it start to form that meaning. But before then, this was a messenger. This was a army. See, because they was fighting. Let's go up to verse 7 and say, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought with his angels. So the whole thing about it, the dragon was called a deceiver because he deceived the whole world. That's what devil means. And Satan, it means adversary, like the Hebrew word Satan. It just means adversary. So the adversaries of the woman, who was the woman? The woman, in verse 1, it said, a woman clothed with the sun and moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Now this crown represent the kings, and the earth was made for the Israelites, the 12 tribes. That's why you have a crown of 12 stars, because the stars represent the tribes. And so when you get to verse 4, it talks about the dragon tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven. Now that third part goes back to, it was 3 tribes that was under the uh, Roman Roman occupation that was in Jerusalem, because the Romans had garrisons around and they was occupying other people's land. They didn't just stay there in Rome. They put garrisons in all of the lands that they had conquered, because it was an empire like America. So you have the verse 3, it say, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. See, this great red dragon is not no devil. This is not talking about angels. That's what I meant to say. It's the devil. Nah, but it's not talking about angels. See, it's saying that this great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, meaning 10 kings. It was a 10-king situation. Just like with this woman with the 12 stars, the woman is a nation of 12 tribes. So this dragon is a nation of 10 kings. That's all it's saying. It's 2 nations. Now the nation of Israel was in the womb together. And look at verse 2. She cried with child, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. Now, let's see who was doing this in the beginning. Who was crying and having troubles with pain in that birth? Look at verse 22. Uh, it said, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. You see, Rebecca had these 2 nations in her stomach, and this was what duplication of Genesis 25, that Revelation 12 is just talking about not a duplication, but it's furthering the story. The stories are connected, and they're identical, not even similar. They're identical, even though these twins wasn't identical. Now, when you look at both of them was in the womb, fighting, struggling with each other. Verse 25, it say the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and his name was called Esau. Now, the great red dragon, that's what this thing is talking about, because we know that the woman with 12 stars, she had Yahushua, the Messiah, who they even called Jesus Christ. So we know who she was, and what the woman was. But who was this red dragon with 10 kings? It was Esau's children. You see, this is what Revelations 12 is about. Jacob and Esau. It's not about no fallen angels and all of this stuff that they tried to push and confuse everybody with, because they trying to hide their identity. Let's get that, because this is the key to the whole situation. See, Jacob is clear in the situation. Yahushua came out of the nation of Israel with 12 tribes. That's clear. That's not a hard concept to understand. But then the stories that these Edomites have created cause you to have a hang up on who is the great red dragon, because this is what they was doing. Verse 10, but I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not going to be able to hide himself, because the Lord going to expose him and make him bare. But the reason he had to say this is because these Edomites trying to hide. See, they going to tell people, nope, that's not talking about us. That's talking about, because see, everybody know that the Romans was the so-called white man. So they going to make that connection. But when you go into uh the verse, and it say that this red dragon is the devil and Satan. See, then they gonna say, hold on, wait a minute. No, this fallen angels. They gonna use all the angel verses and say, no, this talking about some fallen angels. It ain't talking about us now. We ain't connected to that right there. See, they wanna hide, because they the enemy. They don't want to be the enemy of God. Now, when you look at Esau, let's go to Malachi. Malachi 1 and 4. Starting at 3, it says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. See, there go that red dragon. See, clear. Dragon also goes to serpent. Serpents and dragons, they the same thing. Verse 4 says, whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus says the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them, not just Esau, but Edom, the whole nation, the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. You see, because these peoples are the border of wickedness. They love to lie. They love to be wicked. That's why they're trying to hide their identity. He made them to be the adversary to Jacob. That's a part of the script that he wrote, the storyline that how he wanted to play out. Now, I want Romans 9 and 11. He said, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So the purpose of God is that Jacob was going to have an adversary, and he was going to be born with this adversary, and this adversary is going to be pretty much his twin, his opposite. See, Esau came out first, so Esau got the rulership. He's ruling through the Greeks, the Romans, the Americans, the British. Now look at verse 12. It say, and it was said that unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. So the elder is gonna have the rulership first, and the younger is gonna have uh the rulership, because that's what Yahweh Shah, who they even call Jesus Christ, that's his side. He on the right side, Esau on the bad side. See, that's what people don't understand about the situation. The Lord set up the situation just like that. He explains it in verse 20. Uh, well, let me get straight to the point. Verse 21: Have not the potter power over the clay, meaning the Creator power over His creation, of the same lump to make one vessel of honor and another one to dishonor? See, He made Jacob to honor and Esau to dishonor. He made Jacob to be the righteous messengers messengers and prophets to give his word out. Then he made Esau the adversary, Satan. He made them the deceiver. See, and the punisher, because they were the ones that was gonna bring the curses and capture Jacob if Jacob was to be disobedient. So he had purpose for them. That's why 22, he said, "What if what if God, willing to show His wrath and to make His power known, endure with much long suffering?" See, long suffering, seeing that He gonna let this nation take His nation into captivity and punish they behind. Endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. So they was made to be destroyed at the end. After they served their purpose, He was gonna make it to where they was gonna be destroyed at the end. You see, and they was gonna bring punishments on the children of Israel, and that's why they was called Satan. But the devil part, they was gonna be a deceiver too. Let's get that in Second Thessalonians. They played the role of the deceiver. Well, let me get Job first, because that make it much better. Job 12:16. He say, with him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. See, uh he controls the situation. If somebody's being deceived, he created a deceiver so they can be deceived. Now this is what Second Thessalonians is talking about. 2:11. It says, and for this cause God shall send them strong delusion that they may believe a lie. So He sent Esau as a strong delusion. Look at verse 9, where verse 8 he says, then shall that wicked be revealed. See, this the border of wickedness. That wicked, that was called the border of wickedness. They're gonna be revealed, because why? They're trying to hide themselves behind some fallen angel lie. Verse 9, even him whose working is after the workings of Satan, see, the adversary, with all power and signs and lying wonders. See, this that strong delusion. Edom, the wicked. He said with all deceivableness, because they didn't love the truth. And so if they didn't want to love the truth, he got these Edomites that'll lie to you and make it sound real good. And so if you don't love the truth, then you just go along with the so-called white man who hiding his identity on all levels. And he's a wonderful liar. Talks about Santa Claus, white Jesus, nothing he can prove that's a fact, and all kind of amazing lies that he come with, and everybody know it, but they want to turn a blind eye to it because he got money and he's in rulership. He's got power. So they look at his power and his money, and they go along with his lies, and they afraid of him. They're fearful of him more than they're fearing the Most High. So this is why uh, they believe in that lie, but the Lord set them up to believe it because they didn't love the truth. See, and so uh, the truth is coming out. It being revealed that the real Satan and devil that Revelation 12 was talking about is the great red dragon, the nation of Edom. They are the ones that's going to come after the women, the children of Israel. That woman, I mean, the children of Israel, the 12 tribes, and they've been coming after them the whole time, since the Greeks, since the Romans, and during the transatlantic slave trade, expelling them out of Spain and Europe and all of up north in those uh, Gog and Magog areas, expelling all of them out of there, and then going to round them up and putting them in everlasting bondage through the decree of the Pope, who was the Edomites. So they've been attacking Jacob, and Jacob been in trouble to his brother Esau, and so now it's just becoming, it's getting to uh, be the end of it. Let's get that in Lamentation. I'll close out with Lamentation. Lamentation 4, and let's start with, let's see, maybe 18. Yeah, let's start with 18. They hunt our steps that we cannot go into our streets. Our end is near. See, that end is talking about the end of captivity. Our days are fulfilled. See, our captivity is fulfilled, for our end is come. Verse 19, our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. Second Ezra 6 and 11 and 12 talks about the nation of Edom as an eagle. You see, that conquered the world and could rule over the world and reign on the world with wickedness and deceit. Okay, it say they pursued us upon the mountains. See, in many countries they pursued us and hunted us down and put us in captivity. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. You see, they jump down to verse 21. Who is this talking about doing all of this? It say, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwell in the land of Uz. That's where Job was living. Verse 22, it say, the punishment of your iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. See, that's why they say, our end is near, our end is come. It says, he will no more carry thee away in captivity, talking about the nation of Edom, the so-called white man. He will discover your iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover your sin. So he let it be known that he's gonna put the Edomites in captivity after the Israelites come out of captivity, and they're gonna have to go build the kingdom. Now I made that statement, so let me back it up real quick. These Edomites is going to be some of the ones that's going to be building the kingdom. Verse 10, it says, and the sons of strangers shall build thy walls. So this is how the nation of Edom is going to be occupied when their kingdom fall and the Israelites' captivity is over. And that's why Job 12 and 9, Daniel 12 and 9, that in the time of the end, the books will be open and knowledge will increase and the truth will come out. You see, now I might need to get that in Second Ezra because it's just so clear. Second Ezra 6 Um, Now, second Ezra 9, Salakia. Second Ezra 9. Let's see here. Second Ezra 9. Repentance. It talks about um the truth, and it was saying the truth is gonna come out. I might not just skim through this just a second. Okay, let's go back to second Ezra 6. There we go. 6. Let's say, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And this talking about the end of the world. Like verse 20, it say, when the world shall begin to vanish away and shall be finished. The truth is going to come out. The books shall be opened before the sky or the internet, and they shall all see together. So that's what's happening here in these last days for those who have their name written in the book, and the Spirit of the Lord lead them into these rivers of living water, these streams, these channels of living water, giving out the truth. But I'm gonna leave it there. All praises to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem Kakadash, Yahweh in the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai in the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native American descendants of slaves scattered around the globe. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.